Hello everyone and welcome, I'm Collie TV, and in this video we're going to be going through my Magicka Nightblade build. It's a battleground build with non-CP Cyrodiil. It's not at all optimized for CP Cyrodiil, as Nightblades really are just, they're in a difficult spot there. It's really hard to get something going, so I've just chosen to stick to battleground building, and it's what I'm enjoying the most out of my PvP content. So up on screen, we're going to be looking at our non-buffed and our buffed stats while in Battlegrounds. We have a lot of damage. We absolutely exude damage. Our stat pool is quite good. Our regen and resource management is really good. Once you get the hang of what you need to do for your rotations, you will find that you have plenty of Magicka. What we do lack a little bit of is the stem, but we have two abilities barred that they're going to help us out a lot with maintaining our survivability and just playing on the in and out weave. It will take a little bit of time to get used to, but with some practice I find you will really enjoy this build. I've had other people try it out. They really like the bar setups. It's good damage. So yeah, to start off, we're going to be looking at our food. We have Witch Mother's Potent Brew. It's a staple for most Magicka builds. You can run tri-stat food. Witch Mother's is just far cheaper, and I just find it's a bit easier just to play around your max stat pools and then just use the regen to go from there. Our pots that we're going to be using is actually the Essence of Spell Power, so spell crit potions. We want to get that critical as high as we can. We get Magicka Restore, Major Intellect, the recovery increase by a percentage is huge, spell damage, major sorcery. I mean, it just does everything for us. On our actual set pieces, we are going to be running 2-piece Valken Scoria. Valken Scoria is ridiculously strong for Magicka users, especially the Magicka Nightblade. We're running all pieces on this build will be run at tri-stat. We have them all as impenetrable as well, so we just want to get as tanky as we can to survive in the best way that we can. Optimally, you actually want your heavy piece to be chest and your medium piece to be your legs. I do not have that available, so we're actually just going to run heavy 1 piece, medium 1 piece, and then 5 light where we could fit it. So that's our 2-piece there. It's huge nuke. A little bit of AoE comes off it, max health. It's a great monster helm. For our body pieces, we're going to be running Shackle Breaker. There is never a time where Shackle Breaker is not well received. Weapon damage, spell damage, recoveries, and then max stats. It's an all-round GOAT set. It just works on so many different builds. You will always need this set for various builds. On our back bar, nice and simple, we're going to be just running the Restoration Staff of Willpower. We have the Weapon Damage enchant on there. It's just going to buff our single target auto, which is from our next set. That increase is ridiculous. We're going to be using it with the Kalurian's Legacy. Kalurian's Legacy is, some people don't enjoy how to get it to proc. I actually find just playing it on the front bar and just using your backstaff to get 2 procs up on our Merciless Resolve skill, which I'll be showing you later. You get 2 stacks on that. You can drop into Cloak, swap to the front bar. With a stun, you are guaranteed that between this and your spammable, you will proc a 17,000 damage projectile flying at the enemy. It does insane damage. When you combine that with the Valken Scoria proc, there is huge damage numbers. If they are stunned, there is not anything any sort of builds can do to survive this. It's absolutely mental in BGs. You will literally delete people. We're running it with the fire enchant just to give a bit more flame damage. We have it infused. Both staffs are actually infused. I find this to be really strong. At the moment, I have 1 spell damage and 2 Magicka recoveries on my jewelry. I have Arcane set, but now that I've heavily improved sort of my resource management pool, I will be swapping all these over to infused. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. There is a lot of damage coming out of this build. Damage is great, but surviving is a difficult part. So we're actually going to be taking a look at our back bar to start with this. And this is our sort of buff sustain. We have mutagen. We use this just to give ourselves like a dot heal. It's going to help out our teammates as well, getting that health back up. It applies to you and someone else. It's really, really good. We also then for ourselves have Harness Magicka. A lot of people like Dampen. I prefer just getting the 8000 shield, and then it gives you the 40% capped at the max health. That's no big deal. I actually just really enjoy getting while you activate up to 3 times when spell damage is absorbed, you restore Magicka. I think this is huge because in between that, you can spam your mutagen, you can spam your shield. It will increase the Magicka that you restore. It's going to give you a lot more opportunities to get that little bit of extra sustain, so you can then stem roll, dodge out, play around various things. But what we're actually going to be playing mostly around to avoid the stam drain is this, our Shadow Image. Shadow Image has been not forgotten, but it just doesn't feel as good. But in this build and this bar setup, it feels phenomenal. You drop a cloak, you can run around, don't get too far out of its range, and then you can jaunt straight back to where you placed your shadow. It does a little bit of damage, but we're playing around just setting it up, running off down into combat, and then jaunting out. It's a very much a weave build that you kind of have to adjust your playstyle and really enjoy. Again, I guess essentially a Magicka assassin. Like, that's how we're playing. We're going to set up the image, we're going to go in, we're going to just absolutely dump our load and then jaunt back. If things get sketchy, I will jump ahead here, but we will also have our precognition, so we can always just jump back to that. While you crowd controlled everything, you can just activate this. Between the two of them, you can perform some really heavy jukes, which I might just show off right now. So yeah, pretty much I set a shadow, run, I can precog and use my shadow to double juke back. I get closer to my team and we essentially pincer out the enemy. It's very fun to do. It's hilarious, but you know, once you get used to it, it's a really good mechanic that you can play around the two of them. It can really trick the enemy. We're going to run Mirage. It's just going to give ourselves some evasion, some resolve, and the minor ward. So we're not going to take as much damage. We get some spell resistance and physical resistance. It's a really, really nice thing. On our back bar for our CC, we have Crippling Grasp. Crippling's great. We just get the Magicka damage. It does dot damage. We immobilize them, reduces their move speed. We get increased move speed to move around more. So yeah, you kind of want to set up you know, first skill, fifth skill, drop your shadow. You want to be hitting your Crippling Grasp and then charge in. That way we've always got the option to then jump out. We've got the increased move speed. We will then bar swap to our front bar, and we have on here Shadowy Disguise. Shadowy Disguise doesn't need to be talked about. Our next direct attack within 3 seconds will be a crit guaranteed. We just play around this, in and out of shadow. Things get sketchy, we shadowy image back. On the front bar, Merciless Resolve. It's a big staple. On our back bar, we want to try and get at least 2 of these procs built up before we unload that Crippling Grasp, shadowy image, and then run forward. Once we do that, if we have the 2, between autoing and our spammable Swallow Soul, we will get a single target crit. When that single target crit ability happens, our Kalurians will proc. Kalurians will float above our head and will send a projectile at the enemy. As that happens, what we want to be doing is throwing the Flame Reach. We want to be knocking them back. If we can knock them back, they're not going to be able to crowd control out of the proc. It's going to hit, hopefully If you perfect world it, you can have a Valkyrie proc coming in hard on that. When those two hit, you can automatically, between your spammable, have your 5th proc on the Merciless Resolve and use that Spectral Bow to absolutely wipe them off the face of the planet. Nothing will survive it. It will be ridiculously hard for someone to survive that. You will delete people. It will feel good. We have Siphoning Attack, so what this does, it's just an empowerment. It's going to give us some restoration on the front bar, so that bit of extra sustain. It's really good. It's good for just heavy attack spam, so you just want to Shadowy Disguise, heavy attack spam. That's going to just give us really good siphoning procs. And then at the end, when it times out, we will get a big juicy increase of Magicka when it is up. Our final skill, Incap. It's such a good ability. You want to try and hit that Crippling Grasp, rush the enemy, and you want to, or catch them off guard at any point. And when you have over a certain amount of ultimate, when you hit them, they will be stunned. They will hit the deck. They will take increased damage. The Major Defile is just ridiculously good placed on top. If you can hit someone with an Incap and have a few procs set up on your Merciless Resolve, that Spectral Bow with the Incap will pretty much kill anything anyway. But yeah, so that's just like a really quick overview of this build. So we're running Valken Scoria, Shackle Breaker, Kalurian's Legacy, and a Resto Willpower and stuff, which is really easy to get from any sort of vendor. This build does take a little bit of getting used to, but you will thoroughly enjoy it once you get used to the playstyle. I'm going to drop a small sort of edited video just to give you an idea of how to play in and out and around your shadow, and what the primary goal of this build is on that sort of deletion of people and then getting out. So I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you do like it, you know, drop a like. If you have any questions or you want to ask something about the build, leave a comment. If you have suggestions on things that you think are better, I mean, feel free to change your skills up, chuck them in the comments. We always want to be learning more about this game. There's never a point where, you know, you should be feeling like you know absolutely everything about this game. So thank you very much, guys, and I will catch you in the next video.
Sometimes I ask why we even try. I know that I could never fly. Sometimes I wish I could turn back the time, turn back the time. It made me feel that I had lost my brighter side to hollow frost. But I went on, didn't know I should stop, I should stop.
have begun.